A warm welcome to each and every one of you present here. I especially extend my welcome to our principal, Dr. R. Vasudevaraj, SRM Arts and Science College, all faculty members of SRM Arts and Science College, as well as from other institutions, students from our college, as well as from other colleges, as well as friends and acquaintances who have joined us today to hear more about COVID-19 vaccines. And most importantly, I extend a very warm welcome to our chief guest for today, P. Guhanandan sir. Pleasure. It's a great to introduce you all to our doctor today. He's one of the topmost experts in our country in the field of social medicine and infectious diseases. His efforts in Tamil Nadu and his contributions to the general masses and in the field of social sciences is exemplary. I would like to tell briefly about Dr. has been a Director of Communicable Diseases Hospital, City Health Officer, Corporation of Chennai. He has been a Zonal Health Officer, Director of Communicable Diseases Hospital, Chennai. He has been State Program Officer, Senior Medical Consultant of UNICEF CDC Atlanta, Chennai. He has been the Project Director, Public Health Management Institute, CDC Atlanta. He has remarkable achievements in our state especially, such as online issual of birth and death certificates for the first time in the country, rehabilitation of veterans as burial ground assistants from licensed veterans as permanent employees and made the bereavement service free of cost. He introduced de-addiction center, eye, diabetics and dental clinics. He has opened UPSCs and one for each division in Chennai city. He has established 6 labs for the poor with all diagnostic facilities, 2 dialysis centers for poor, destitute old age home at Santhom, rehabilitation of 1,300 street beggars and mentally ill by admitting at CD hospital, followed by treatment and admission at IM hospital. And he has done several such works which has touched the lives of many people in Tamil Nadu, and especially in his post as a director of CD hospital, he had done remarkable discoveries in science. During the epidemic outbreak of cholera, he handled the large epidemic of cholera during which nearly 62,000 patients were hospitalized from October 1992 to January 1993. He identified the new strain of Vibrio cholerae, non-010139, for the first time in the world at CD Hospital, and a paper for which was published at USA in 1993, which turned out to be a pandemic affecting Calcutta, Dhaka, Hong Kong, and other countries, and it was named as Madras strain. He introduced doxycycline for the first time in a pandemic of cholera in 1992 epidemic. He introduced the food handlers license system for the food handlers covering 30,000 hotel workers. He started school health checkup program in the Corporation of Chennai in 1992. He started paramedical courses for the poor. In the teaching, he has been a prominent teacher and as a professor of infectious diseases, teaching medical, paramedical graduates and postgraduates. And he has tutored about 15,000 medical students. And besides that, as a state program officer, he has mainstreamed the services to existing line departments. He has reduced HIV infection among mothers from 1.5% to 0.5% in Tamil Nadu state when he was the state program officer, for which he brought great laurels to our country, where he represented India to WHO Geneva to represent the success story of Tamil Nadu in reducing the HIV among pregnant mothers. During the he had also authored several books on cholera and school health and life skill education, food hygiene, and care continuum for AIDS. He has several research paper publications, and his work and his contributions is monumental and inspirational to all the workforce right now, and also to our budding students. I thank you so much, Doctor, for joining with us today. Today, we have conducted this webinar to talk about COVID-19 vaccines. And Tamil Nadu, as well as India and the world, we have been tackling for over about a year now with this pandemic. And the government now, we have introduced COVID vaccines in India, initially with the phase 1 of healthcare workers. So with this and with the internet and news and social media, there is a lot of news and reports regarding COVID vaccines, and many of which are rumors, myths, facts. So today we will use this time, as we have such an established and reputed doctor of this field. Let us all gather and just ask him and find out what are the true facts related to COVID-19 vaccine. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining with us. We have also sent out registration forms to all the participants, gathering their questions also. So we'll file up, we'll have just compiled and ask you all the questions, and thereafter there will be QA session from the audience as well. So shall we start, Doctor?
No, it is good. And should I start with the questions or should I start with an introduction?
You start with the introduction, Doctor.
Right. So you see the slide?
Present screen, Doctor. I have to click on present screen. Present now. Present now. Please click on present now.
Yes.
Before, now the screen share has been switched off.
You got it?
Yes. Now you are presenting, Doctor. You can see the screen. Yes, we can see the slide.
Yeah. Say greetings to everyone from SIMS Hospital, Chennai, SRM Institute of Medical Sciences. It's quite interesting that young scientists are trying to listen about coronavirus here. I would like to give you some small introduction about the coronavirus, and we have been seeing lots of pandemics. You know the word pandemic. What does it mean? We have epidemic if it is going to be an outbreak of diseases in one particular area at one particular time. It is an epidemic. For example, we had several types of measles outbreak, malaria outbreak, dengue, and all that. Then, if this dengue or malaria is going to remain to be a disease throughout the year, it becomes endemic. But a disease that affects the entire world, all the countries, almost 50% of the countries are going to be affected, it becomes pandemic. So it is actually altered the entire world, hampered the lifestyle of people, lives of the people, the earnings of the people, everything. And I think first time the world, the 20th or beginning of the 21st century, we are seeing such a huge disease really affected the lives of the people, more the developed or industrialized or developing or underdeveloping countries. So to give you a small view about this epidemics, I'm giving you some of the introductions. So these are all the points that you can really understand. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the history of pandemics, the nature of pandemics and COVID-19, and what is a novel coronavirus, category of patients and the treatment, the types of mutations, or ventilators are used wisely during this epidemic, which is commonly felt by everybody. Unanswered questions, preparation after lockdown, all these things are discussed. Of course, this is prepared about 6 months back when I was presenting it. I'm also the advisory group of the Chief Minister on coronavirus for the government of Tamil Nadu. The history of pandemics, if you see, we have pandemics from 551 AD itself. And slowly it has become big diseases of flu, Spanish flu, plague, then smallpox, then swine flu, Ebola, all these things. For example, we had plague in 17th century. It's only a very big human cry throughout the world. And it is a black death from 1347 to 1351. Then smallpox. Smallpox killed large number of people in millions throughout the world. And again, cholera in 1817 to 1823. We are able to control this disease in 1992-93 in our hospital, Communicable Disease Hospital, Thandayappet, Chennai. This is a landmark of this country. And then Spanish flu killed billions of people. Actually, the number of people died because of Spanish flu is more than your coronavirus deaths. And then we came to Hong Kong flu, that is H3N2 in 70s. Then we had HIV/AIDS, is still there as an endemic. It killed large number of people, of course. SARS in 2002 to 2003, and then swine flu 2009 to 2010. I myself treated nearly about 6,000 cases of swine flu in 2009 to 2010 in my hospital, and many more than lakhs of patients in the city of Chennai when I was the corporation city health officer. And then Ebola, you can see the panicky situation, how large number of people are buried in places like Nigeria and other northwest African countries. And then coronavirus has become a big problem right now. These are all the some clips about the pandemics. So epidemics the previous year, you can see 2002 we had SARS, and then 2009 swine flu, and then about in Africa it is Ebola, and Brazil Zika virus, and then South Africa it is MERS-CoV virus. So people suffered a lot because of these illnesses, and these are all infectious diseases, communicable diseases. Some of them become contagious. More we spend a lot of money on tertiary healthcare services, the super specialty illnesses like open heart surgeries, CABG, and brain surgeries, kidney transplant, heart transplant, everything. But few people are getting benefit out of it. But the billions of people are suffering from these illnesses, which swipe away the human population. So these are all the pandemics that are occurring. This is the way this pandemic occurred. Maybe it has started. The pandemic has to be understood. It is in Wuhan province in 12/12/2019. It has started. The WHO was informed on 31/12/2009. China was playing a wonderful role in controlling these diseases as well as notifying to WHO. Unlike some media were talking ill about it, it's not true. They were able to notify to WHO much earlier and also develop the strategy of contact tracing, isolation, quarantine. All these concepts were scientifically made in China. Then India, we had 3/1/20. We have got a case, and the notification started. In Thailand, it is 12/1/20, and in the pandemic of COVID virus was declared as a public health emergency, an international concern in by WHO in 31/1/20. And then the first deaths in Philippines and Germany, they started in 4/2/20, and then Singapore, it was again 11/2. Slowly it is increasing, and then it has become a global epidemic, which affected about more than about 28 lakh people, and vulnerable all over the world are mostly elderly people. Above 60 are the people who have died in number. It is more than 60 or 70%. And the elderly, among the elderly, those who are suffering from comorbid, that is non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension, cancer, transplants, dialysis, pregnancy, and some neonates. All these things are considered to be the vulnerable groups, and people died among these teams. For example, in Italy, more than 70%, not more than about 80% of the 70 years above people died, and people were found dead on the platforms. And China was able to control the disease by plateauing the entire epidemic outbreak by stringent methods of barrier programs, like they closed all the gates of the entry points of Wuhan city, and all the people were screened, and all the people, especially among the elders, they were isolated and treated. All the youngsters were quarantined. All these good works are initiated, and we are able to, the rest of the world was able to follow China's model. And then antivirals were tried, and erythromycin was tried, and then hydroxychloroquine was tried. Lot of drugs were tried. There was, till now, there is no scientist was coming out to say this is the drug of choice against the virus. No, it's all treatment or only supportive treatments. And testing in India, it was taken up very well by government of India, and lots of testing was done, and people were identified earlier, and India was able to manage the disease very well, control of the disease very well. So these are all novel coronavirus, and I just want to so this is again a very simple form of it, and you can see now a number of people infected globally is 130 million. In India, it is 11.1 million. In Tamil Nadu, it's about 8.5 lakhs. Number of people died throughout the world is about 2.5 million. In India, people died in about 1.57 lakhs. Tamil Nadu, we lost nearly about 13,000 people. Number vaccinated, first dose was globally 220 million people were given the doses. The second dose was 45 million. In India, we given 12.4 million people, and second dose is 1.48 million. It's good coverage. And Tamil Nadu, it is 3.78 lakh people were immunized, and the second dose was 50,000 cases were immunized. Now the government of India has opened the gates for the common public from 1st of March, and they're going to have more number of cases. So this is the situation. And I think this is sufficient enough to really give an introduction.
Yes.
And right, this is good. So I will go for the questions now.
Yes, doctor. Doctor, now even at SIMS Hospital, we have started the first round and of introducing the vaccines. And the one question that everyone has is there is two vaccines, that is Covishield and Covaxin. So what is these vaccines actually? What are they made of and what do they contain?
Actually, these vaccines, we have got 3 types of vaccine produced throughout the world. Number one is we have taken up the viruses, kill the viruses, and develop vaccines. For example, we did the same in other viral infections, especially in polio. Also, we tried a lot of things like this. So, killed or inactivated virus, that is what we see as Covaxin in India, which is being developed by Bharat Biotech. Number 2 is Covishield. Covishield is the virus. It is not actually a virus. At least Covaxin, we have got the killed virus. But in Covishield, we have adenoviruses, you know. They're all biotechnologies, you must be knowing about it. These adenoviruses have got a lot of space in their cell. So what they do is they take up the laboratory developed coronavirus genes and insert that into the adenoviruses in the spaces which develop spike proteins. The spike proteins which enter into the human body, they develop antibodies. The spike protein of the vector is adenovirus. Now, there we put these deactivated, laboratory designed, high technologically designed coronavirus genes into that, insert into that, which actually given as a vaccine to the human body by processes, and that develops spike protein. For the spike proteins which is artificially developed, our body responds and develops antibodies. The spike protein is an antigen, and this gives antibodies in the body. So this is the 2 things that are very, very important. The third thing is mRNA. That is the Pfizer vaccine. The Pfizer vaccine in US, the genetic code is being developed, and DNA of the artificially synthesized viruses are enter into the system, and they develop mRNA. And there is a question that this DNA will interfere with the DNA of our body, but it doesn't. It is only changed into mRNA. And then it affects the lipid protein of the virus, and then spike proteins develops and antibodies are developed. These are all the 3 things. And your Sputnik is also used by this adenovirus 26 and 35. And the other one is Moderna virus is almost like your Pfizer virus, Pfizer developed vaccine. So there are three types of things. One is Covaxin, developed from the dead COVID-19 viruses, and Covishield is vector-based, technically modified vaccine. And the third one is this Pfizer vaccine, and the fourth one is Sputnik vaccine. It is almost like the Pfizer vaccine development. Adenovirus is also used, and the fourth one is Moderna vaccine. It's almost similar to the Pfizer vaccine. The only thing is the Covaxin and Covishield, the temperature for storage is sufficient to have 8 degrees, 2 to 8 degrees. Whereas the other vaccines which are used in US and other things, or temperature should be maintained by minus 70 degrees. Though they claim to be high efficacy, our method of immunizing people in the large population of India or any developing countries or the temperate countries is not that easy. Again, you are able to produce this vaccine to the maximum cost of about 300 rupees to 400 rupees. So the advantage of this vaccine is, number one, it is killed vaccine, Covaxin. Covishield is a vector modified, technically developed vaccine. Both of them could be maintained with a temperature between 2 and 8 degrees centigrade, and it is easy to transport, store, and use it for the large population of India. And the cost of production is also has come down. It's about 300 to 400 rupees only. That's why India is at the demand by several countries. At least 140 countries are asking for the vaccine from India. So these two vaccines are not going to give you any harm. And we have crossed more than about, we have seen about, we have given about, in India, 11 million vaccines are given, and we are yet to get information about very severe reaction and death. Not even a death is reported. And usually in the vaccines, we have the complication. I have been seeing the vaccination for the past 35, 40 years. Most of the vaccine reactions are only because of the pain shock, or some anaphylactic shock because of the ingredients as a stasis point for the vaccines. Number three is sometimes it is hygienic or the healthy environment which is being used for immunizing the children or the elders. Otherwise, the people are likely to have some fever, pain, and all that. That's it. We have crossed more than about 2,000 vaccinations in SIMS hospital, and none of them had a problem, except a few, say about less than 10 people who had fever, slight fever, rigor, pain, tiredness, and they all recovered within about 12 hours or 24 hours. That's it. So this is the way that it goes on, and the vaccine is very, very important. Why do we believe vaccines? Vaccine actually reduces the suffering of the people, the spread of the disease. That's why we are behind vaccines. Just imagine people are dying because of poliomyelitis with bodily deformity, permanently damaged. All these things were brought to a halt in India, especially, and many other countries. It is possible only through the vaccine. Smallpox killed a large number of people in the villages throughout the world. It was brought to a stop only through smallpox vaccine. Like that, this particular vaccine is developed in a period of 1 year. This is a great miracle, scientific miracle, because the other vaccines took about 10 years, 8 to 10 years. If 1 year they will take from the stage 1 study, stage 2 another 2 years, stage 3 another 2 years. Like that it will go. But you are able to produce the vaccine within a year, considering the human suffering, considering the public health emergency, considering we have to cut short the time duration taken for the pandemic. So the vaccine is the must. There are a lot of media claims or myths, stigmatization, discrimination, saying that this vaccine is going to cause this damage to the females, they will develop hair over the face, and the boys will have infertility, become infertile, and it is going to cause some other damages to the system. All these are not scientific things. It's not science. We cannot talk science. In my hospital, almost all the doctors and the paramedicals had the vaccination. Of course, the youngsters made hue and cry, but again, when we talk science, we ask them to apply science, they all agree to this. So we have to encourage lots of people. The highest age group of person who had a vaccination about Covishield in my hospital is 94-year female who came in a wheelchair and had the vaccine because she is comorbid, like that. And we had people who had transplant of heart and lungs. They had vaccine. They are all fine. So the myths, stigma, discrimination about the vaccine should really go away because it doesn't interfere with any of your system except developing immunity. That's it, Sharin. I think I can go for your questions.
Yes, Doctor. Yes, Doctor. So you have cleared many of the questions that had come now in these set of in communications. Related some questions I'll post you, sir. So the question is how many doses we need for whether it is Covishield or Covaxin? And after the first dose, will the person, even if they're showing symptoms, does it mean that they are COVID positive or will their RT-PCR come positive? And after the second dose, is life back to normal? This is some questions that has come, sir.
Actually, you have to understand the disease itself first. The disease is causing high fever, headache, body pain, breathlessness. These are all the initial symptoms. That's why we have been advising people to use this oxygen meter to see the SpO2 level. If it comes down below 90, patients are having this dyspnea and oxygen level in the body is coming down. These are all the things that we usually see. The coronavirus actually causes two sorts of damages in the human system. Number one is it affects the lungs. Number two, it affects the blood vessels. When it affects the lungs, it causes pneumonia. And the lung area, which actually respires and takes oxygen to the system, is reduced. And pneumonia infection is also setting. The other one is the worst thing, that is blood vessels. Blood vessels are the other area that the virus actually causes inflammation. Inflammation means it causes damage or the response in the blood vessel, which can go in for stroke of the brain. It can go in for heart attacks. It can go in for deep vein thrombosis in the legs, and the leg is lost. Like the two things are happening. But when the virus enters into the body, what happens to the youngsters? Young boys who have got immunity, they don't suffer illness. They may have some tiredness and all that, but they will be mobile. They cannot go for lying down because of illness, but they will definitely be a silent infector to the other people, especially elders at home. Even the children, it is not affected, but the elders above 60 who are already suffering from diabetes, hypertension, or respiratory illnesses, asthma, people who are on cancer drugs, people who are on dialysis, all these people are likely to be affected. That's why we have, as a evidence, we had seen more number of people. If about 12,000 people died in Tamil Nadu, 12,000 people have died in Tamil Nadu, it's nearly about 9 to 10,000 people are mostly in the age group of about 60 years. If you take Italy or America, the number of people died because of this COVID are mostly above 50 years or 60 years. In Italy, more than 70 people, almost 80% are wiped away because of this infection. So with all these experiences that we had from Italy, America, and Iran, Spain, and also China as a first country, you are able to follow the public health procedures of isolating the people who got infected, quarantining them, and also all the contacts were quarantined here, and the entire mass of health professionals at the field, namely the health inspectors, sanitary inspectors, primary health center medical officers, nurses, village health nurses in large number, more than about nearly a lakh of people, both permanent and the temporary people, went house by house to see the contacts, to see the symptomatics. And we have been running fever clinics to treat them, to test them. We have gone in crores of testing of samples and we identify lots of people. And we have treated them in the hospitals. Dedicated doctors did a great job and they were all escaped. That's why now we understand that youngsters can have harbor infection, but they will not suffer disease unless they have got comorbid conditions. But they will be infecting elderly people. That's why we keep on saying, even if the disease has come down, we are really moving from the epidemic or pandemic state to the endemic state. Endemic state. In the endemic stage, the disease is going to be there. We had swine flu outbreak as a pandemic in 2009, but still we have swine flu in less number. We follow the same procedure. Like that, even in COVID-19, you will have this disease for another 2-3 years or 5 years. But the procedure of prevention, we have to follow, like hand washing, masking of the face, and then social distancing, cleaning of the throat and the nostrils. All these things are to be followed as a routine, and it should really become a culture or a lifestyle for us. That's why the vaccination, we have taken it as a procedure. First, to give the most affected people, the doctors and the paramedicals, frontline healthcare workers, number 2. Number 3, we are gone in for people above 60 years or 50 years above. Government of India is now going for people above 50 years from 1st of March. Like that, the vaccination is going. Now I think you could have now understood very well about the disease, how vast it is to cause so much of damage. We are going to have a large number of people who are infected, who are treated, who will have lung problem henceforth, and also people who might have blood vessel diseases who require some treatment, continuous treatment. These are all going to be the burden on the government, burden on the health system, burden on our community as a whole.
Okay, doctor. Yes, doctor. Doctor, on a priority basis, if we are first-star healthcare workers, who are the next after this to take the vaccines?
Now, after the healthcare workers, we are going to give vaccination for people above 50 years. And the people below 50 years, if they have problems like kidney diseases or hypertension or diabetes, they will get the certificate and come to the place and ask for the vaccination. That's it. Actually, people should understand, people who had diabetes uncontrolled, they suffered a lot. We treated nearly about 3,500 patients in our hospital, SIMS Hospital, Mumbai, and the people who have really succumbed to death are mostly diabetic patients, mostly diabetic. That's why handling people suffering from non-communicable diseases. Communicable diseases are, you see, coronavirus is a communicable disease, cholera is a communicable disease, swine flu is a communicable disease. But diabetes is non-communicable disease. Hypertension is not non-communicable disease. Cancer is non-communicable disease. All these patients who are suffering from non-communicable diseases, who are known cases or who are not known cases, yet to be diagnosed, all these people should be given care. And the people who are listening here, please go and check your elderly people at home or even people above 40 years to check for the non-communicable diseases and make them alert and to take the treatment in a cohesive, systematic way from the institutions like ours. Let's share it.
Yes, thank you, doctor. So, if we are supposed to take the vaccine, how will we know if we are eligible, and how can we register for the vaccine, and so that if it comes to the public, we can immediately, especially to the vulnerable, if we can take it first?
Actually, there was a little problem in the app, registration in the app. Okay, there is a little problem in the registration app, but Government of India and Tamil Nadu government are going to open it. Already it is open, And from 1st of March, the app will be open and you have to register it and come. And we are also requesting the people for a simplest way of vaccinating them by registering not only through app but also by initial registration in the hospitals. Say about 195 private hospitals are given a grant for giving this vaccine with the smallest administrative cost, I think. And governmental institutions, everybody is free. The card, and this is the hospital. SIMS Hospital is running an international travel clinic and vaccination center. International travel clinic is people who are traveling abroad. What all they have to take care of their health. People traveling to Tanzania, Nigeria, Sudan, California, or American country, South African countries, China, and all these places. When they go, they have to take a consultation. I don't know how many of you know in the Western country. When I was working in UK, there is a travel clinic in all the hospitals where people who are planning to travel to India or Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, they will give you drugs for malaria. They will give you drugs for cholera as a prophylaxis, because these are all the countries which have got diseases. Like that in South Africa when you go. So the travel clinics will help the travelers what all the precautions they should take, what all the vaccinations they should take. Especially students who are going for studies abroad, they usually come to my center. So this center has got a unit. Our department is called SRM's Department of Social Medicine and Infectious Diseases. I'm the chief of the unit. We have about 5 doctors, and we have a unit which is functioning as International Travel Clinic and Vaccination Center. This is the book that we have. Sharon, can you see that my video?
Yes.
Can you see the book I'm opening?
Yes, we can see. Yes.
This is the book. It's a very novel book, now becoming popular throughout the country, because it's a center which is recognized by International Society of Travel Medicine, which is affiliated to WHO. This book we are giving in our hospital, and we are also recommending in my expert committee. I am also suggesting utilize this chance to give their vaccination passport book like this. This book doesn't talk. If you think of vaccination, you always think about children's vaccination. If children's vaccination plays 50% importance, another 50% importance goes to the elderly. For example, swine flu and our COVID virus. All this affects elderly people. So the vaccine for the elderly as prophylaxis is very important. So this book has got everything, like what are the vaccination to be given for the children, what are the vaccination to be given for the adults. Not only your basic vaccination, all the vaccinations. This book has got all the information, and you can avail it. Even I will recommend it through School of Public Health in Katangalattur campus, and also Community Medicine Department. And you can have it, or you can come and have it in our hospital also. And another information I would like to share with you is the flu vaccine you give. This COVID virus is almost like a flu virus only. We give flu vaccine every year for the individuals, and also we give pneumococcal vaccine. Both these vaccines are more important for your lungs, your respiratory system. And we have given for more than about 700 people in the past 2-3 years pneumococcal vaccine and flu vaccine, quadrivalent flu vaccine, which has got 4 types of viruses in the vaccine. Those who have taken these vaccines never contracted this COVID virus. That's another information, but it is not the sure shot scientific saying, but it also protects them. So this is going to be COVID virus vaccine is also going to be one of the regular vaccines in future. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, Sharon.
Yes, doctor. So if it becomes regular, so it will be like a yearly dose that we'll have to take, or
Yes.
it looks like a future?
Yes.
Okay, doctor. So regarding travel, there is also a question like the vaccines which are given in other countries and the vaccine which is in India, are they comparable and does it protect it from the strains? As we hear that there are some more potent and vigorous strains coming from South Africa or Brazil, and people coming from US, they prefer to take the vaccine over there and then come back to India. So is it any difference like this in the vaccines in different countries? That there is a Pfizer which is there and the Covaxin and Covishield that we
No,
have here.
these viruses. Our Covishield is in collaboration with Oxford University, AstraZeneca,
Yes.
and the viruses which are found in America, Italy, or China, all these viruses are almost similar. That we have checked. When I was the committee member in the CM's office, scientific committee, we have did a genomic study of the viruses found in Tamil Nadu. And we found also we checked the samples. People came from Mumbai, which had more cases, more infection through the from Italy and other places, China also. The viruses are seem to be the same, except there is some sort of mutations. Mutational changes doesn't affect the genomic study of the genomes of the viruses. So the viruses which are found throughout the globe are same. And they try to say the new viruses are coming up and all that. It is not even proved. And
Okay.
the version in the media which said the new viruses are coming up, new strains are coming. It is not new strains. It's a mutant variants. For example, as a biotechnology people, you can understand the virus or the bacteria which are in the environment tries and learns to live to the environment. So, for example, in 1992-93, we discovered a new strain of cholera. Cholera is there for the past 200 years in India, throughout the world. But the new strain, when we studied in Sweden bacteriological laboratory, and the facilities were not available here, we sent the sample to Sweden bacteriology. They said this cholera vibrio has got a thick coating over it. The bacteria has got a thick coating over it to withstand the temperature, withstand the heat, withstand the environmental changes, withstand the chemicals and insecticides. And that is what the scientists gave me as information about this virus. Same thing, the viruses, when we are actually changing the lifestyle here, it tries to modify its behavior. That's why the new mutant varieties are coming up. That's why in Tamil they are saying Urumariya coronavirus. Urumariya coronavirus, it changes its look and the pattern, but the genomes are the same. So the vaccines which are developed both in America or in China or even in India, they got the same genomes and it is going to help us. So there is a big question by WHO and other medical scientists whether these present vaccines will give you relief or help for the newer vaccine. Yes, it is going to give you relief because genomically the proteins are the same. Antibody development is also going to be the same. So this will definitely protect you. The only question is the regular flu virus we are giving every year. It has got a longevity of having the antibody for 1 year. But I really suspect because this virus is very fragile, highly infectious, causing so much of damage, this antibody also depletes from the human body very fast. That is also I am talking out of my evidences. We had 2-3 lady doctors who got infected by coronavirus, and we did a study of their antibodies before vaccination. Soon after the infection, they showed nearly about 85-90% numbers. But before the vaccination, she said, I already got infected. Why should I have vaccine? I told her out of scientific anxiety, why don't you check your IgG now? She tested, it was 1.25 within a month's time. Like that, even this vaccine can give you maximum relief about 6 to 9 months. Maybe we have to do another dose if required, at least for the frontline healthcare workers who are highly vulnerable. So the vaccine has to be given every year, 2 doses. And they are trying to make it as a, by genetic engineering methods, they are trying to make it as a single dose also. And more relevant because this vaccine trials and studies and researches were done within a year. Unlike other vaccines, we have not taken 5 years or 10 years. So we are successful in launching this 1 year old vaccine, 1 year, not even 1 year, less than a year's research study. We have produced a vaccine to save the human life. And it is going to have more modifications. It may become long acting. It can produce more number of antibodies and will sustain, or we can go in for single dose vaccine. All these things will happen. So all the genetic engineering, we can definitely use it for modifying the vaccines. Yes, Sharon.
Okay, doctor. So those who are COVID positive also should take the vaccine now.
Yes, all the COVID positive patients also should take the vaccine.
Okay, sir. So we have one more question. Why is that there's a reinfection of COVID? That is second.
Yeah, tell me. Second time infection.
Yes, sir.
Second time infection,
yes, sir.
Actually, to define it, the core element of this coronavirus virus affecting the lungs and the blood vessels is a primary event. The secondary event is, say, the flu-like pharyngitis. Flu-like upper respiratory infection may occur with the same strains. And it doesn't mean that they have second infection. Because lot of news came in the newspaper and your media, what's social media, the second time people are affected. How many are affected? These are all really funny things that are happening to threaten people. That's why
yes,
in all my interviews during this coronavirus, I said we will win over this very fast. And every media was asking me, you are the only person keep on saying you will be all right. The corona will be going away. But I have to encourage people. I said you are going to win over. Man is born only to win over the nature. We are going to win it. And the people said large number of deaths will happen in India and Chennai. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. The reason is, fortunately, in India, we have been following the universal immunization procedures. What is a universal immunization? Almost the youngsters who are listening here might have had 0 polio dose. Soon after birth, 0 polio. Soon after birth, 0 polio. Hepatitis B. And then BCG. Triple antigen. Measles, mumps, rubella. Some affluent parents give meningococcal, pneumococcal, flu vaccine, typhoid vaccine. So many vaccines we are giving. You know what happens? All these vaccines develop immunity called innate immunity. That innate immunity definitely protects our people in large number. Number two, 1/3 of the metropolitan cities have got slums. Biotechnology should really understand this. We have metro rails. We have all sophistication of going to putting all best rockets in the sky, in the space. But we have to find a solution for the slums. 1/3 of the slums in Chennai or Delhi or Mumbai or Kolkata or Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, Bangalore, everywhere. Those people, you know how they live. It's a fact. Now the government is trying to do a lot. And those environment and infection give some repeated infection and they develop antibodies about. That's why it's an evidence. I'm yet to scientifically prove that. You can also take a part as a researcher. The number of people died in the slums are less than 5%. That to the elderly. Same thing in Dharavi slums. Same thing in Mumbai, BB Road slums. Same thing in Delhi's BB Road slums, and in Mumbai, the Kamatipura slums, and even the Sonagachi slums in West Bengal. People died very, very less. These are all the advantages. And the next thing is, in almost all the cities of India, especially in Chennai, if you take 1 square kilometer, people are 25,000 to 28,000 in number. In the villages, if you take, it is not even 2,000 or 3,000. per square kilometer. So when the thick population is there, infectivity is quite high and people are infected. And we did a serological study about antibodies, both in North Madras as well as in South Madras area by ICMR study and Tamil Nadu government, the government of India study. They found 70% of the population have got antibodies in North Chennai. And in South Chennai, it is about 70%. Large number of people are infected. That's why I'm telling you, herd immunity is already setting. If you are going to be vaccinated quickly, if 80%, 70 to 80% of people are going to be protected by vaccines, the disease is not going to spread. We are going to put an alter. We are going to alter, stop the spread of the disease. Yes, Sharon. Hello?
Yes, that is a positivity that we wanted to hear, whether it's like 80 are vaccinated, then we can tackle and almost end this pandemic. Doctor, in few questions, I just want to take it up and ask. This COVID, already you mentioned that it doesn't affect fertility, but this fertility in men, women, and couples who are in infertility programs can they take vaccine? Next is pregnant mothers, lactating mothers. Can they take vaccine? And people who are undergoing treatment like for chemotherapy or cancer and dialysis, can they also go ahead with the program, vaccination program?
See, the pregnant mother and the children, little children, the vaccination is deferred because scientifically saying they could be given vaccination, but they don't want to take risk because the age of the vaccine is less than about 9 months. So the pregnant mothers,
yes,
children, and people who are on steroids, that too, steroids is not prohibited. People on steroids and anticoagulants, they can stop their drugs for a few days prior to the vaccination, after the vaccination. That's it. But pregnant mother and the children, we are not encouraging it because it has to be still more confirmed because they don't want to take even 1% risk in this. They are very cautious. That's why the deaths are almost zero throughout the country.
Yes. And people undergoing chemotherapy, dialysis?
They have to.
Yeah.
People who are chemotherapy should have.
And infertility programs?
Infertility programs. The people who are trying this infertility program for pregnancy, they can have. Only the pregnant mothers need not have. And we are encouraging the vaccine for all the people who are undergoing this planning for surgeries and other procedures. We are encouraging them to have the vaccine.
Okay, doctor.
Because the simple reason is it affects people who are hampered immunity. People who are likely to have less immunity. People who are likely to have less immunity are already suffering from illnesses. And people who are suffering from diabetes, hypertension, and cancer and other things. Right?
Yes. Okay, doctor. The next question is, doctor, the vaccines are going to be launched in private hospitals as well as in government hospitals. So what would be the costing? Is it going to be free? And do we have a choice between the two vaccines? Can the public decide whether they want to take Covishield or Covaxin?
You are going to have your choices. You are going to have choices. Covaxin and Covishield. Initially, Covaxin was less supplied. So there was a restriction. Now, government has announced that you can have a choice. But my friendly advice or a scientific advice is the choice should be made on scientific facts. So whatever is available, have it. And Covaxin and Covishield are both the same. Both have got no viruses. They are all inactivated. Covaxin is inactivated or dead virus. And Covishield is a technically modified virus. And that's also not active. It is not going to hamper your system, alter your system, or going to bring in damages to your endocrine system. That's it.
Thank you, doctor. One last question from my side.
But I encourage the biotechnologies, keep reading about it, do some research, and try to develop more refining of the vaccines. Understand about vaccines, what is the technology involved? Wonderful technology. And India is actually producing more amount of vaccines. And we all should know the techniques and technology of developing vaccination. Yes, last question, Sharon.
Doctor, one of the controversies which came out regarding Covaxin is the clinical trials are still ongoing and it's not completed. So people just go with that headlines, clinical trials is incomplete. What can a public understand with this word clinical trial? Is it ongoing or are we still collecting the results? Could you just speak a few minutes?
Yes. Actually, I have a slide to show. I'll show you. You see the slide, Sharon? Sharon, are you seeing the slide?
Yes, we can see. Yes, we.
Okay.
Yes.
Some slides you can just see. This is the what is that? This is the pancula which really infects people. Just for anxiety's sake, I'm showing you. It's the infection. No, I missed it. Actually, all the other vaccines, they have taken more than about 10 years to develop, whereas this vaccine was developed only within 9 months. So,
Yes.
lot of modifications are going to happen, and genetic engineering is going to take place in refining the vaccine. All these things are good. I really lost your question, Sharon. Tell me.
Doctor, the clinical trials, they say that it is still ongoing and not completed for Covaxin and Covishield.
Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. A lot of stages are there. We have been talking a lot about 3 stages. Covishield finished all the 3 stages. Covaxin finished 2 stages, and 3rd stage is waiting for it. Basically, you should understand that the vaccine was promoted globally with the importance of public health emergency to cut short the deaths, cut short the human suffering. That's why we are scientists, medical scientists, and vaccine initiative of WHO pressurized for developing the vaccine at the earliest, and we did that. Stage 1, 2 are all successful, and stage 3, even SRM was doing a study on that. They were trying to do that 3rd stage. But 3rd stage, these are all, first stage will be in 100, second stage will be in another couple of hundreds and thousands. 3rd stage will be more thousands, and now, even with the 3rd stage, we crossed millions. So the trial itself is naturally over in the implementation process itself. And with this past one and a half months of vaccination, or 1 month's vaccination, we covered about 12 million people. And this is a stage 8 trial is over.
Okay, Doctor.
So,
Doctor, we'll take questions, a few questions from the audience.
yes, I would
Audience, you may unmute and ask the question, and then please mute your speaker again. Please ask questions. Now is the time.
I love to answer your questions.
Sure, Doctor. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ashish.
Yes. Thank you for, first of all, thank you for the best presentation I have attended today. By the way, we need to clear that how many doses might be given for the particular person of vaccine. Like it might be time period, time lapse, or it might be after a particular time or days something. Like if you give first dose on this day, or it might be the second dose might be in a month or 3 months, like anything.
In fact, the first dose is given today, and you have to take the second dose after 28 days. but there was a lot of hue and cry from the doctor community and other some scientists. We can give it after 12 weeks or after 28 weeks. All these things are going on. But the point is, the first vaccine starts developing antibodies within after 10 to 14 days. And they develop in numbers. If large number of antibodies are developed, that is wonderful. And since it's a fragile virus and it's a new vaccine we have developed, we want to boost the development of antibodies without depleting within 28 days. That is
Sure.
4 weeks. 4 weeks. WHO, if you go to WHO site, they will say 4 to 12 weeks also. But since it's a tropical country, we suggest the vaccination at the earliest is better. Earliest is better.
Yes.
And it is only 28 days for the second dose. If it is going to be about 6 weeks also, it doesn't matter. But we will stick on to the general norm that the country goes in for a program. We are developing country going for a program. We will stick on to the norms laid down by ICMR or Government of India. First dose followed after 28 days the second dose. If it misses 1 or 2 weeks, that's it. That's sufficient. And we will do, after doing the second dose, we will wait for 12 weeks and then do IgG. If that IgG shows that our antibodies are very less, we can think of actually going for the second and third dose also. It's only an academic purpose I'm telling you. But before having this first and the second dose, let us not create any slumber or contradictions and make our less literate people to misunderstand the entire process of immunization, because the stalemate comes from the more educated than from the uneducated.
Sure, doctor. Thank you so much. Is there any standard side effects like that have been found after vaccination? It is possible of side effects like something after vaccination, like something.
Into we have given in my center, we have crossed 2,000 doses. Less than 10 people, they suffered slight fever, headache, body pain. That's it. Nothing more than that. To give you a more example for the entire country, we have got more than about 12 million. No deaths happened. Nothing happened. And highest age of 94-year-old female, she had the vaccine. The doctor.
Sure, doctor. Thank you. Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you for the presentation.
Actually, after my presentation, I think all the listeners should really develop an attitude or fully convinced that they are going for vaccination.
Yes, doctor, that is very clear.
Elderly people also go
Yes.
for it.
Yes, doctor. Next question.
Good afternoon,
Yes.
sir. I have one question.
Yes.
So we take the vaccine, the diabetic patients are there. So after taking vaccine, they have to stop the medication, no, sir. So they
No.
get does they
So
get any symptoms? Like if they stop the medication and before and taking the vaccine, does it impact their health condition?
No, you have to stop the drug, only the steroids. Not everybody is taking steroids. One in 10,000 may be taking steroids in our setup. All other diabetic drugs you should not stop. You can go ahead. Hypertension drugs you can go ahead. Nothing is happening. Only drugs which are to be stopped are your steroids. And if anybody had some strong allergic reaction to any vaccination earlier, they can wait.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, doctor.
Good morning.
Cardiac angina patient can take this vaccine?
They better take the vaccine.
Better to take it. And cardiomyopathy patient?
Cardiomyopathy also they can take, sir. It is not contraindicated because we are actually supporting and helping these people. The vaccines problems are mostly with the pulmonary and the vascular. And your cardiac vascular problem is going to be somewhere rather going to be supported by this vaccine, I think we have to go for cardiomyopathy patient as well as infarction patients.
A bronchial asthma patient can take it
They have to take it.
because they are taking a steroid, you know.
You stop the steroids for 5 days, doctor. That's why.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you for your kind information.
Thank you. Is that Sherin?
Yes, Doctor, any more questions from the audience? Or we
Sir?
can, yes.
Sir,
Yeah.
I am Saranya. Sir, I have a question.
Yes,
I
sir.
have read a recent news that over 84,000 have been vaccinated, and within 24 hours, 27 deaths have been reported. Does it happen, or it's just a rumor, sir?
See, we have Sharanya. We have your media which reports very fast. You know,
Yes,
there
sir.
are
Yes,
some
sir.
media and social media. We are also really floating lot of false informations. If 27 deaths have happened, the international community would have really raised a big question, and our own media would not have left. These are all false.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharanya. And I request you people to really stop spreading or even discussing about it. You can definitely verify with the concerned departments.
Yes, Doctor.
Go ahead.
So the information given was so clear and accurate, sir. And I'm sure that the people have understood that there is no fear in going ahead with the vaccines. And as the government is launching the programs, we can also participate and take part in the active vaccination, as well as especially take care of the vulnerable people and people with comorbidities in our family. I think we can wind up this session. Is there any more audience questions?
My last word is
Yes, Doctor.
last word of caution, because most of the biotechnology people are listening. These
Yes.
viruses are really causing so much of damage, or bacteria causing damage. It's all based on the environment. We have to keep our environment clean. For example, polio vaccine. Polio vaccine was developed, and WHO said vaccine prevents deaths and complications. But how do the virus spread? It spreads through the water. It's a fear of orophycal contamination causes polio. Like that, this virus also passes through the environment. Environment means not only person to person, but also the closed rooms, air-conditioned rooms. Air-conditioned rooms, please see that your air conditioner filters are cleaned frequently. Take a swab and see whether there are any viruses or bacteria in that. Keep your classrooms, your laboratories clean at least once a month, perfectly well. And also in your living places. The respirable particles in the dust should come down. Keeping all the vaccines, all sophistication of life, and your environment dirty and insufficient enough to live could be the cause. Could be the cause. This is a cause. Again, we have been disturbing a lot the ecosystem of the forest. We frequently read tigers are getting into the residential areas, elephants are coming, bears are coming. Everything is coming out of the forest. Forests have a lot of epidemics going on inside the forest, but it doesn't affect the life of the animals or anything living in the forest. For example, these bats, vowal. Bats have got lots of viruses on them, at least 300 viruses. It doesn't affect the bats. But when it spits or the excreta coming out, the anteater pencolae, it eats the ants and it also becomes infected, but it doesn't die. And these pangolin are taken to the wet market of Wuhan, and there human infection takes place. It is not only in Wuhan, in many parts of the world, even our own. That's why we have to develop a conscious attitude of preventing infection from ourselves to others, others from to us. And also the environment cleaning is very, very important. Think of developing vaccine, think of instruments which keeps our environment clean, especially your air, especially your classrooms, your laboratories. your houses. All these things are very important. And another word of caution is, don't think the coronavirus has gone. We are going to have an endemic. Endemic means less number of cases for a long time. So keep it as a habit. Wash your hands at least 5 times a day. Frequently wash. Unnecessary handshaking we have to avoid. Masking with perfect standard mask is very important. And the social gathering, social distancing is very, very important. These are all, and then frequent mouth washing and the nostrils washing is very important. Eyes washing. This should become a part of your life. Whether this corona is going to be there or not, but only the disease make you listen. And we are to follow at your working place, study place, and at home. And especially in the public transport areas like your air-conditioned theaters, air-conditioned buses, air-conditioned trains, all these places you have to be very careful. Still, our people are blowing their nostrils in the open places. They sneeze, they spit. All these cultures should really change. Don't think that I'm really making derogatory statement, but we have to start from ourselves itself. So, best wishes for every one of you listening to my discussions. And
thank you, Doctor. The information that you have shared is invaluable at this critical juncture. We will wind up this session. For the last, I've called Mrs. Sonia Palram to share with us the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to all. I, on behalf of the Department of Biotechnology, SRM Arts and Science College, extend a really happy thanks to our Chief Guest, Dr. P. Kuganandam, for gracing today's webinar. Thank you, sir, for a very interesting, informative talk about COVID-19 vaccines. And you have cleared many of our doubts, which is the need of the hour. A special mention for our respected principal, Dr. R. Vasudevaraj, for being the catalyst that stimulated us to do our best and standing as pillar of strength. My heartfelt thanks to Mrs. Sherin John Joseph, Head, Department of Biotechnology, for her rock-solid support and for helping us in every possible way. I would also like to thank faculty members of our department and also other department staff members, attenders, for technically arranging the webinar to make this event happen. Finally, the wonderful students and participants who have turned up in great numbers and actively participated in the webinar. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Once again, I thank you all for your cordial cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you. Best wishes.
Thank you.
Best wishes. Looking forward the youth to really react and create a healthy future of the country. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Doctor, so much for your valuable time and spending your time with us.